Hello, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding our passage through this challenging and very hopeful time. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for January 26th to February 1st, 2014. And here at New World Birth, we've been invited to initiate a new format for these videos, trying to make them a little more manageable than the previous monthly format. So this being the first full week since the rave new year, we felt it would be timely to introduce a weekly offering. I'm going to cover some foundation information in this video so that the future forecast will be solely on the week's energetic. Human design is based on 4 ancient wisdom systems as a bridge to understanding our potential to discover our path and making decisions that are correct for us as individuals. And those traditions are astrology, the I Ching, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, and the Kabbalistic tree of life. And you're probably wondering how all these systems work together in human design. Well, we start by looking at the sun and the planets, the nodes and the moon in the wheel here. Much like we would in astrology, except instead of looking at them related to zodiological constellations or to each other by the angles that they make, we look at them in relation to the hexagrams of the I Ching, and then they get mapped to specific locations here in the body graph. And on January 26th, we have the sun. It's in Aquarius, but it's also here in the 44th hexagram, and you can see that there. And for those of you who know astrology, you can look at these positions and note that they are the same positions as they would be if you were looking at an astrology chart as far as the zodiological constellations. Anyway, the sun in Aquarius in the 41st hexagram basically gets mapped to this point right here. The shapes inside the body graph are called centers, and they represent the next stage of evolution as humans, because we've moved from having 7 chakras to now having 9 centers. The pathways between the centers are called channels, and they're from the Kabbalah. The black strips of paper here represent gates being activated by the sun, the planets, the nodes, regardless if they form a channel. I'm not going to be going into the moon in this demonstration because it really moves very, very fast. It activates between 3 and 4 gates in a single day. The sun, anyway, is over here. It's in that 41st hexagram. It's mapped to that opening here in the channel. This is the 41st gate, called contraction, decrease, the limitation of resources, which maximizes the development of potential. It's located right here in the lower right-hand side of the root center in an abstract collective energy channel called recognition. When connected to the 30, I found that human design is the most accurate tool I've ever found for describing a person, who they are, and it's become my primary tool for that when I provide readings. We have the following hanging gates or potentials at the beginning of the week. Like I said, we've got the sun is in the 41st hexagram. We've got the earth up here in the 31st gate. The north node is in the 28th gate, the south node in the 27th gate. Mercury is in the 49th gate. Venus and Pluto are both in the 38th gate. Mars is in the 32nd gate. Jupiter is in the 39th gate. Saturn in the 43. Uranus in the 17. Neptune over here in the 55, and I mentioned earlier that Pluto is here in the 38 with Venus. Obviously, not every gate forms a channel. Every gate activation forms a channel, but this information is really useful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com, clicking on the button that says Get Your Free Rave Chart, and entering in your birth information. So for those of you who've been seeing these videos before, we've had this channel of struggle for a number of months now. We're going to have it almost the whole week. This is the week where the channel of struggle ends its epic journey here. Like I said, the reason it's been here so long is we've had some real slow moving. Well, Pluto is the slowest moving planet, and then we've got the North Node, which also moves rather slowly compared to things like Venus and Mercury and the Sun, and so and so it's been creating this definition where we've been feeling a struggle for months, and it's going to continue until the 31st of January. And this brings experiences where people struggle against overwhelming odds. This is the archetypal hero's journey of fighting for our purpose that empowers others to stubbornly fight for what holds meaning for them, by being an example. It's individual, so it's all about empowerment. And this is an empowerment that comes from being who you're meant to be instead of following the conditioning of our families, schools, religions, and governments. And as an individual channel, it's said to be deaf. So folks don't really hear the other and become distracted from their authentic path. To me, the key to utilizing this energetic is to struggle with what's worthwhile for you, fighting for something that has meaning and purpose in your life. And we've had several months to learn from our struggles or just simply be conditioned through it. Following your human design strategy and authority, it really is how your purpose will unfold. And this really reminds me of crystalsis. When a caterpillar is in its cocoon, it's in its pupa stage, it has to struggle to emerge as a butterfly. And it's through this struggle that it develops the mechanics it needs for its transformed vehicle. If it's freed from the cocoon without experiencing the work of liberating itself, it will not have what it needs to survive as a butterfly. And my experience of friends with this channel is that I have to make them wait when they seek my guidance. If I try to answer their questions too soon, the answer is either not going to be accepted or it's not going to be applied. And they also need to stay it seems that they seem to stay in a disagreeable situation longer than most folks. And sort of a metaphor that I've sort of adapted to this. Let's say you have a well, and the well's running dry. And most people move on because the last few buckets of water are going to have a little bit of mud in it. But these folks I know with the channel of struggle are putting in an effort to not only get the water in those last few bucketfuls, but they're also scraping the bottom of the well for any residual moisture. And I think that these people, when they leave a situation, they know there's nothing left to go back for. They've extracted the last bit of wisdom in any situation before letting it go. For those of us with this definition, for those of us with any definition in the integration channels, I have the 34, but you've got 34, the 57, the 20, or the 10. The 28 acts as a siphon, and what it does is it takes our instinct for survival and pulls it into their struggle. And like I said, I got the 34 there, so I've seen my power depleted by the struggle of others. Of course, I'm conscious of this, and these people are people who I care about. Yes, I know I'm being conditioned by this, but let's be clear: to be human is to be conditioned. Nobody gets out alive, and nobody gets out without being conditioned on someone. That's how we gain experience. That's what life is about. We don't have to let the conditioning make our decisions for us, but we are here to experience the other. We are here to experience the transits. We are here to have the experience of being conditioned. Now, also this week, we've got Jupiter in the 39 connected with Neptune in the 55. This is bringing us the channel of emoting, and we're going to have this one now until March 14th. And so this is another time period where people feel the pressure in the form of an emotional wave. And the best way to deal with this level of sensitivity is to appreciate the lows as well as the highs, recognizing that it's part of our human experience and it's temporary for those of us who don't have this channel in our birth charts. This can bring lessons that yield wisdom as long as we stay present in moving from hope to despair back to hope. It's in the emotional wave cycle. And both of these channels are individual, which means they bring melancholy with them, that blue feeling. And you can tap into greater creativity by using that fuel of melancholy or that blue feeling for some kind of artistic expression. And by artistic expression, it's what you consider artistic. Don't let anybody else tell you what's creative. If you think it's creative, then it's creative. That's it. Also, this channel emoting brings deeply romantic and acoustic sensitivity. So listening to music or talking with a loved one is also favored. On January 26th, we have the sun. It's in the fifth line of the 41st hexagram, which is authorization. It's the external recognition of one's potential despite limitations. The sun then moves into the sixth line, the role model line, at 12:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The date times I'm going to give you are going to be Eastern Standard Time, so convert them to your local time zone. The sun in the 49.6. That's the 49.6 is contagion, the law that maximization of potential not only ends decrease, but inevitably such transcendence benefits others. Also on the 26th, Mercury moves from the 49th gate of revolution over to the 30, and hopefully it will stick, but it's the fate, so who knows. Mercury's always about communication. What needs to be communicated in the 30? Fate. The gate of recognition of feelings, the clinging fire, freedom recognized as an illusion, and that limitation as fate. It's in the first line, which is composure, the balancing in the face of disorder. Balance in the face of disorder, stability and balance through feeling, the potential to hold on to them. Mercury in the 30 connected with the sun in the 41. We have the channel of recognition until the 27th, so for about a day. And this gives us a day to dream for the sake of the dream, without the expectation that the dream is going to come true or it's going to bring us lasting peace. And this is part of the abstract collective circuitry. So sharing this experience of our hopes and dreams with others will have a profound ability to stir their feelings. I'd expect folks to be more restless in this experience of this connection between the root and the solar plexus. Also, for those of you who don't have an emotional definition, this channel and the channel of emoting really bring this unfamiliar wave of emotions, and it's really a yearning to feel in order to learn. And then the 27th, the sun moves from the 41st gate here, and it moves to the 13. Right. Okay, so we got the Earth is moving from the 31 to the 33. The sun is moving from the 41 to the 19. Sorry about that, a little confusion there. This shift actually happens at 10:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 19th gate of waiting, it's called the approach. That all things are interrelated is apparent and manifested through the action of approach. And it's exalted in the first line, interdependence, the successful approach that does not lose its individual character in acceptance. with the entry of the sun in the 19th hexagram, this is where we really feel the pressure of a new year beginning. And if you saw the video I did for the neutrino forecast of January, I went through all the stages leading up to the rave new year. But when the sun moves into the 19th hexagram, this is the pressure of needs, the need to have enough food, and not just for you, but for your tribe. So maybe you need some extra. In this case, just in case someone from your extended tribe needs some resources too. So to have all the needs are rooted in the material demands of living in a tribe or community. Sorry, I have this cold going on. The needs related to home and family. The pressure to have the needed resources begins with the sun in the 19th gate. The sun moves into the second line, so we've gone from the investigator up to the hermit line of the 19th hexagram on the 28th. This occurs at 8:55 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 19.2 is keynoted as service, a dedication of personal resources as a result of external contact. Dedication and service to the highest values, and the detriment would be indecision that eventually leads to compliance. So whenever something is not exalted or detrimented, I'm going to read both of those in order to give you the full flavor of the transit. January 29, the sun is it's still in the 19th hexagram, but now it's moved into the third line, the line of the martyr. This occurs at 7:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is dedication. Receptivity to approach can only be maintained through vigilance. Sensitivity and ease fueled by the acceptance of others as the exaltation, the need to be wanted hampered by oversensitivity as the detriment. On the 30th, the sun moves up into the fourth line. Again, this would be the opportunist line of the 19. This occurs at 5:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is described as the team player, the individual approach which attracts and accepts cooperation, the energy to seek out and exalt the company of others as the exaltation, or the sensitivity energized by the limitation of others as the detriment. The 31st, the north node moves out of the 28, which is very significant here because the transit splenic definition goes away, and the south node moves out of the 27, and the north node moves to the 50, and the south node moves into the 3. All right, difficulty at the beginning. And then Mercury moves out of the 30 and joins Neptune here in the 55. Again, Mercury is emphasizing communications about the abundance of spirit, where it joins Neptune. The 55 is keynoted as abundance is strictly a question of spirit. The first line is cooperation, the potential to cooperate with powerful forces for the benefit of spirit or not. Although Mercury is exalted in the 55-1 due to Jupiter being in this opposing gate of the 39. The nodes are almost always retrograde, which what we mean by that is, from our perspective here on Earth, that they almost always look like they're moving backwards compared to the way we would expect the planets to be moving. And they take a few months to back through each gate. So this is a really significant shift. First of all, it's got us letting go of this channel of struggle, which we've been experiencing for a few months, and I'm ready to let it go. The North Node is in the 50. This is the cauldron, which is about values to serve and enrich the present and the future, particularly related to the preservation of children. Although I do see this played out often with people, putting that energy into the elderly or folks with disabilities, basically people who don't have a voice. I find the folks with the 50, they raise their voice up in order to speak for perhaps someone who can't speak for themselves. And then the South Node, this is in the 3. This is the gate of ordering, difficulty at the beginning. The fundamental change of initiation is to transcend confusion and establish order. And then on the 31st, the sun moves into the 5th line, the heretic line of the 19th hexagram. This is at 3:21 a.m., again, Eastern time. The sun in the 19.5 is sacrifice, the need to limit personal potential in order to achieve a target goal. And then February 1st, the sun moves to the 6th line, the role model line of the 19th hexagram, at 1:30 a.m. The sun in the 19.6 is the recluse, the avoidance of contact in general, but not exclusively. Exalted, this is the fool on the hill, the sage that if you can find him, he'll talk to you. The energy which generally fuels avoidance. Detrimented, this is the sulking child, the self-imposed exile that will only end when it attracts the appropriate and soothing reaction. Oversensitivity to rejection that fuels avoidance. And then later on the 1st, the sun moves from the 19 to the 13. But this is also the point where the Earth moves from the 33 to the 7. So let's find out. So, get our sun up here. All right. And this shift happens at 11:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 13th gate of the listener, the fellowship of man, universal ideas and values in an ordered framework which inspires humanistic cooperation. The first line is the line of empathy, the ability to relate and commune with equanimity. The exaltation is the openness in listening to others with affection. Detrimented is the openness that is never free of motives, such as politicians kissing babies. So, being a projector with an undefined sackle, this may be a case of not knowing when enough is enough, but my channel of awareness and my gate of details wanted to add the God's heads to this weekly report. So here it goes. We start this exploration into the 16 God's heads with the keepers of the wheel, and that's the keepers of the wheel are represented by hexagram 61, 60, 41, and 19, and make up the gates associated with the keepers of the wheel. This is a symbolic of the endings and beginnings being the same. The theme, this is a theme, it's in the quarter of mutation, that, it's sort of the idea like in physics that energy cannot be destroyed, it changes form. It's a hidden quality that comes from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition of being more elemental than personal. When we talk about some of the other God's heads, they're more personal God's heads. This one's more elemental. But we'll explore the personal ones in the upcoming forecast. The wheel, this is the wheel of life that moves due to unseen forces, kind of like those prayer wheels at Buddhist temples. In Hinduism, this is Prakriti and Purusha, the temporal and the external, that life is terminal, yet the personality crystal endures. A metaphor for this is the word Om, which is often it's spelled A-U-M. But when you think about the sounds, okay, we look at ah, the sound. It starts at the back of the throat, and it represents the beginning. And then we go ooh, the sound filling the mouth, and it represents sustaining. Then the sound up by the lips representing completion. But Om is said to have 4 letters. The 4th letter is the silence that precedes it, underlies it, and continues after completion, the external. This energetic exists in many different cultures that see time as cyclical rather than linear. One of the ones that I've studied a lot is the Mayan Zolkin calendar as being an excellent example of this, because it moves through a 260-day cycle called a round that has no beginning or end. And the keepers of the wheel remind us that the past and future are an illusion and that now is boundless. So anyway, no matter what these energies are that are conditioning you during this first week that we're talking about here, take some time out just to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature or watching a sunrise or sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, just being really truly present with somebody you love, or even truly present with an animal that you love, or a tree, or anything. Just take some time to be conscious of the now, because every single day we have is a blessing, no matter what the dramas are that are beckoning to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of our lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time out to observe the play as well as act your part by remembering we're spiritual beings that are having human experiences. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be for February 2nd, 2014. It should be available on the 1st, when we will continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. We're also going to be looking at the Kali God's head. You can check us out on Facebook or YouTube, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or as texts as widely as you choose. I'll be discussing the transits of February 2014 and I'm also going to be providing some short 10 to 15 minute human design readings to the participants of the Earth Needs Rebels show on Orion Talk Radio, and that show will be on Monday, February 3rd. I come on the show about 1:30, and it goes until 3, these again Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to get a reading on the show, it's really great. You just contact them through the Orion Talk radio website, through their chat room for Earth Needs Rebels, and then they'll call you for free anywhere on the planet to bring you on the show, so that I can provide you a short reading. Also, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you got any questions or wish to schedule a reading. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me, because I love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA or connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations here to try to keep these reports freely available. The best way to make a donation, though, is get a reading. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time out to connect with my passion for all these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste and Lakesh. And as Ra would say, love yourself. Peace, and I'll see you next time.